Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Literally a guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that perfect lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and welcome to PSGL once again for PCF2 and to Azerbaijan. It's going to be a good round tonight, and it's going to be, well, as we know with Azerbaijan, a little bit of a battle of attrition, but simultaneously it's a chance for some skilled drivers to really show their stuff. Joined, of course, by Nathan Richards, aka Richie. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome to the studio. Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like we had a little bit of an audio hiccup. So, as you went through there, and the audio dropped seemingly in and out on my end. Yeah, you're right. So we've gone from Siriano having complete dominance to now sitting here with a P20 to their name. Keep in mind, Shortupper did not start in round 3 back in Bahrain. They had a perfect podium record: 5 starts, 5 podiums, 2 firsts, 2 thirds, and a second. And now they had, I think we described it at the time as a complete inversion, because they went from that podium streak all the way down to P20. In fact, retiring in the pit lane with a couple of laps to go. So that has given the opportunity, as we've seen with Tycho Hardy, now 48 points, and much closer in the championship. The 2 Alpines sitting at 43. And looking very good as a constructor, looking at one of the most consistent, strongest constructors right now.
Yeah, of course. I think those two there are miles ahead of the field in terms of the constructors' points. It's 86 points for those guys. Ferrari, I think, might be just a little bit ahead due to obviously Monaco being on 64 points. So the battle for the constructors is really between the Alpines and the Ferraris, because we can see Tycho Hardy in second, but his teammate Daniel Kaya has only got 14 points. We can see Haas, they've got, Julian in P5, but Yost in P9 on 17. So they're not really any close at all to those top 2 in the constructors. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting as well as to see what the team aspect can be. But then again, we always know it's not always about the team side here in PSGL. In that, well, at least in the normal seasons, it's more about that kind of one for all strategy where you've always got to be trying to get the best for yourself rather than your teammates. So yeah, yet again, I don't think the constructors is much to look at, but it's still quite interesting. But we're going to get our way through now into qualifying. Of course, it's an 18-minute qualifying as usual, and we've got all our drivers in now readied up. I believe we've got a couple of reserves in. That would be, let's have a quick look who we got in. So we have got, there we are, so we've got Andres Lopez in for Keen Godendorp and Joe Van Bussel in for Nico Ben. So Nico, yet again, missing another race, and well, his form was good in Australia, but since then he's never really got his foot off at the mark at all, has he?
Yeah, well, I did see that he was sort of asked by one of the admins about having a conversation with them, particularly around hosting the lobby tonight, I imagine. So I'm not sure if there's something going on there. Maybe he was asked to step aside this round in order to have a host. We don't really know. But what we do know is, unfortunately, he's taking another round out, which is going to be only harming his championship hopes. Speaking of the calendar, an important announcement to make, folks. Obviously, we are here tonight for round 8, but while we shortly get ourselves prepped and cars start to go trackside for qualifying, an important thing to note: next round at Zandvoort is officially cancelled. Now, you may have seen, if you're taking part in the wider league racing scene, you will no doubt have seen that F1 Esports is back on the calendar. You've got 2 highly contested events, and one of those is going to be taking place on the Thursday of the Zandvoort GP. So for console tiers, it is unaffected, but for us on the PC side, on the Thursday, we are going to be cancelling the Grand Prix, and it's not going to be rescheduled. So it's a drop round, and we'll be continuing from round 10 in Brazil. Bit of a shame to see Zandvoort go. I certainly love the track, but I'll happily take that fall if it means we have F1 Esports back in swing.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? F1 Esports, we're all here for PSGL, but we all know that esports is the big one, isn't it? It's where all the best of the best actually take part. But then again, we have a lot of them take part in PSGL, especially over in the PCF1 side, where I'd say probably 90% of the drivers who participate in F1 sim racing, as it's known now, also take part in PSGL. So I think without PSGL as well, the league racing scene or the esports scene probably wouldn't be as big as it is now, being as most teams, whether they say it or not, look at PSGL, look at WOR to see who's rising up through the ranks.
Yeah, and it finally sort of gives, because we're at that longest time, while we had that sort of drop period, as we're going to go trackside now, and we're going to see one other than Kai Pearson being first out, or earliest out, going to get a run in as soon as he can, is going to be that answer to the question, is like, where do drivers go? Oh, saying that, big slide from Kai Pearson. I don't think he necessarily intended for that around the last corner. But you get that question of where do drivers go? Where does a lot of talent go? Because there's a ceiling. And as far as these leagues can go, as PCF2, PCF1, where you see, as you said, majoritively the F1 sim racing roster, is where can they go? And we have our answer finally. So it's good to have that. If nothing else, to have some progression back in the wider scene and to see a few more opportunities for talent come into the fold. We're going to see a few more cars now coming through, and I think next one, and first one to actually put on a committed lap after Kai Pearson heads into the pits, it's Andres Lopez.
Yeah, that mistake there from Kai heading out to the final corner cost him lots of time heading down that back straight, so he's headed back into the pit lane and will go once again once he's got himself a new set of tyres on. But we can of course hear the Williams of Andres Lopez in here tonight, so obviously a reserve driver taking part in instead of Keen Godendorp, so we'll see what he can do as he heads his way now down to turn number 3 here, late on the brakes, just trying to throw the car in here down to third gear, try not to hit that wall on the exit of the corner, because that will definitely harm your lap, if not completely harm your car and get you out to qualifying as you head your way through. Turn number 4, and now in towards turns 5 and turn 6. And Kai, maybe he's got a qualifying ban there because he has retired in the pit lane. So I'm not sure what's happened there for Kai, but hopefully we can resolve the issues. Soon as we can see Andres Lopez now head down in towards turn number 7, and then into the infamous castle section here, an uphill left-right chicane. Very easy to mess it up here, and you can see there Andres pretty much touching the wall all the way through there.
Well, I've got the stewards' findings up from the last race, and it didn't seem like any quali ban was mentioned on Kai's part, so potentially a technical issue, potentially something else along those lines, but either way, he's bowed out a quali, so he is going to be starting dead last by the way things are going. Andres Lopez now, final sector, final few corners, posts a pretty good sector 2 time, and is now going to be a straight shot to the finish line. Carry as much speed as you can, try and avoid as much steering input, because remember, any input is going to be scrubbing speed off of those tyres. Slicks they may be, very rapid these cars are, but you still want to take the optimal line through. Every kilometre an hour makes a difference. You see Andres Lopez tucking right to the left wall. It's going to be a 39.3. That is your initial benchmark of the session. Let's see who can top it. Shimon Lekomsky going to immediately top it by half a second. 38.897. Bradley Holdham 39 flat. And a few more cars. Joost Noordijk 38.717. Once again, proving his worth as one of the faster drivers. He has really sort of showed his mettle, but he did have a little bit of an infraction last time out between himself and Koya.
Of course, yeah, very nice lap indeed from Nordyke, and we can see as well his teammate Julian Kleffenbach hit the wall at turn number 16. Luckily, he does carry on, but definitely that would have harmed his lap indeed. Reese Linton goes up into third, Joris Krozen up into fourth, and as I see a bit of a spring in the action from him here as Leo Lund goes into P5. Max Grosch putting now into P4. Marco Soriano takes that place away from Max and into P4 goes the Ferrari. We've got the two McLarens coming through as well. What can they do? Daniel Kvyat will be first. Currently, 14th in the standings. Needs some good points here tonight, as actually, even though Julian had a tap on the wall at turn 16, he still gets himself up into provisional P2 on the grid. Daniel Kvyat goes up into third on the grid there. Brilliant from the McLaren. Now, what can Tycho Hardy do as we see Lilly and Devercore head back into the pit lane? Will Tycho get a good lap on the board? He goes up into second there, so it's a Haas 1-3 and a McLaren 2-4.
McLaren looking very strong in the initial laps of the session here. The Haas putting down the hammer, but they've got just the answer for them. Also, Shimon Lakomsky, shout to him, he put out a really good lap there. He's within about a 10th and a half of the top brass. So, very good initial lap from him as well in 5th place, and going to be seeing all the drivers now bowing out back into the pits, getting themselves ready. Though, I wonder what happened with Derbacor, because he seemed to be on some decent form, but maybe he just didn't have a good sector at some point, and he just bowed out, didn't want to run the risk.
Yeah, of course, but then again, you can see the likes of Sergio Sobrino down in 17th and Andres Lopez in 18th. They're, considerably far off the pace. That's 6/10 separating those two and Jost Nordyke. So you also makes you think there maybe those two are taking a bit more of a reserved lap to just get a bank lap on the board, just to get something there, and then near the end of the session they can go, and put the nail in the coffin and go full hammer for the final lap. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd one to see some people so far off the pace, but then again, it's a difficult track, isn't it? It's not the easiest track at all to navigate yourself around. I think many people could consider this harder than the likes of Monaco and Singapore, because it is a really difficult lap because of the high speed you're carrying at all times. You're never really going slow apart from the end of that first sector and the castle section. Apart from that, you're going full speed the whole way. And even though we know it's easy to turn left and right in a Formula 1 car, that final bit of an S section when you come towards the line, you've only got to go wide by a centimetre, and that's you into the wall. And at that speed, the car is not going to be fine at all.
You've got the matrimony of characteristics that make for a high-risk street circuit. You've got close walls, and you've got high speeds. Of course, Baku is known for two things. It's known for probably the longest start-finish section in F1's calendar, but it's also known for the castle section, and that castle section does not take any prisoners. You cannot fight through there. It's as simple as that. It's kind of like almost Monaco-esque with how narrow it gets, but you cannot fight through the castle section. You have to settle your battles before that corner, or things are guaranteed to end badly. The only time you want to get away with fighting is if you are incredibly bold or incredibly risky.
Yeah, indeed. And could see a donation there in the chat. I believe that is a Japanese yen there, I think, was donated. If so, thank you indeed for the donation of whatever currency it was. Very thank you to Wacky Loader. Thank you indeed. And yeah, welcome in. I hope you're enjoying the stream. And of course, guys, let us know in the chat who you're here to support tonight. As usual, we'd like to know what drivers and what teams you're here supporting and looking to egg on to try and get themselves a victory or a podium. And well, in Mirko and Tycho's case, a championship. Those two kind of clear at the moment of the others. There's a few people a little bit further back, but so far the two hot shots are Tycho and Mirko. And Mirko Soriano, our championship leader, down in P7. Tycho's up in P2. So already this is looking quite good here for the McLaren. But then again, we've still got probably 2 more runs left to go here in this session. 9 minutes to go, so we'll have at least one. We'll have at least 2 runs from every driver, possibly in this next part of qualifying. And I'm surprised so far, Slappy, that we've had no mistakes at the castle section, because normally you see 1 or 2 mishaps there, but so far it's been quite clean through there.
Yeah, well, with the current timings, you're looking at 2, potentially 3 good runs. You're going to have, of course, the outlaps. You're going to have the time getting your car set up in the pit lane. And then you've got until, of course, the checkered flag falls fully to get a run in. So I think we're going to see at least 2 from everyone else, but maybe 3 for some who just nail the timing right and jump across the line with a few seconds to go. That's going to be a key opportunity for some, because that's going to be when the track's at its most rubbered in. Of course, they're going to lose a bit more time through trying to burn fuel, as we see so many drivers do on their last runs. But we'll see how it goes. We got a penalty coming in for illegal blocking, so that does mean, for those who are new here, we have a lobby restart protocol in the event the illegal blocking penalty comes out. Unfortunately, It's not something that we can really manage or can avoid. Game does not permit. Hopefully F124 addresses that in some form, but we'll see. There's another one coming through there, but a lobby restart is going to take place, meaning there will be a little bit of extended downtime between quali and the race. But here we are, Derbycourt now. Last driver yet to set a time on the field. Kai Pearson's rejoined, but of course he's not going to get a chance to qualify. He's going to start P20, depending on what Derbycourt does here.
Of course, here I'm just watching Lillian's lap, and so far the car doesn't look that dulled in here. You can see he's having to twitch with the steering a little bit more than he would have liked here, so it's not looking like the best setup at all here for Lillian Derbycourt as he heads his way now down to the end of that first sector. 35.037 is what Lillian manages in that first part of the track, and now we'll head down towards turn number 7 at the right-hander. Just wanted to break down to third gear, get the car coasted, and get back on the power straight away as you head your way down to the castle section. Yes, again, just being careful with the barrages, see-through there. You're squeezing every time, hoping you don't hit a wall. And Lillian, yet again, getting very squiggly on the rear on the exit of the castle section, and probably losing maybe a tenth or two at a time there as he heads his way through that section. Now, in towards turn number 15 at this horrible braking zone here. Very easy to hop that curb and go into the wall. Lillian takes it nicely, then in towards what you could say the final proper corner on this circuit. Into there, back onto the power, riding that curve on the exit now. It will be foot to the floor as you head your way through the left-hander. Then you'll go back to the right before getting that DRS. Now, the DRS is a little bit further down here on this straight, so you won't get it just yet. You'll get it in around, well, you'll probably see it on the telemetry there, 200 metres time now. You'll get the DRS now, and you'll head up towards the line. What would it be here for Lillian Derbycourt? This will be in the 38s. No, it will be a 39.3 in that. That is not promising at all, is it?
Yeah, 12 milliseconds shy of Andres Lopez's initial starter time. But we're going to see a few more cars start to head through now. It's going to be Derbycourt tucking out of the way. If I'm any driver going on a hot lap through the castle section, I can't help but instinctively tuck my shoulders in. Campbell Staturer, though, he's going to be going in, and he's going to be getting himself a great lap, 6.659, immediately topped by Shimon Lekomsky. Jan Halliday going 3 milliseconds behind. Sergio Sobrino has just started a run there, so we're going to see what happens. But their teammate, Joris Krozen, has dropped down. Mirko Suriano is only P11 right now. It's pipped Krozen by 3 milliseconds, but is not going to be making headlines in the way that he would have liked. There you go, a few more cars. Nordyke going to be coming through next up here. Klaffenbach immediately filing behind. And then a few more racers in the form of Leo Lund going to be coming up to the start-finish line now. Significantly down on his time. What's he going to get here as he crosses the line here? It's a P3 with a 0.587, looking very nice indeed. And then Joe Van Bussel sticking in for Nico Benz. He's going to be making his way up to P8.
Of course, they're very nice times indeed. And, you know, as I said earlier on, but I think it was Sergio and one other driver, I said, oh, they're a little bit further off. Well, they both put brilliant lap times in to kind of compensate for that. And now they sit themselves within a couple of tenths from that pole position time. But still, Lekomsky looking strong. We know he's a good qualifier. He was like it last season. He's been like it so far this season, along with Nordyke as well. You know, as I said, he's took pole help, I think, here once or maybe twice here this season so far. So he's always, you know, a hot shot here in quali. And then obviously further down, obviously out lots of Tycho Hardy and Mirko Suriano, 12th and 16th. Mirko, yet again, having a big struggle here in qualifying, like we saw in Portugal. We're seeing it once again here in Baku. He's got to find another 3.5 tenths to get pole. There's a lot of pressure here on our championship leader, and a lot more pressure than many others, because he knows he's got a championship to fight for here. He knows he's got one to lose, and, you know, at one point he had a 30-point gap. That gap could go down below 16 points here today, which is the last thing that he wants after such dominance in the first 5 rounds.
Yeah, and he has got that dominance, meaning he has got a points cushion, but he cannot lean on that points cushion forever. He's going to have to continue to back that up with results, and especially as Tycho Hardy's put on such a strong showing, at least in the initial run of his qualifying, he didn't quite get a chance to match that in his later runs, so currently sat P12, but his main rival, and what matters here, Suriano, P16. So these two protagonists, along with the 2 Alpines, who, again, have been putting down some consistent work, just 5 points behind Tycho Hardy, keep in mind, so definitely still in this fight. They're all going to be ones to keep on the radar. And out of the 4 of those drivers, Linton currently leads with a 0.774.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, when you look at the race itself in terms of qualifying, you've got Leo Lund, who's, you know, had a bit of a poor season in terms of results. Same as Liam Stevens, Jan Halliday as well. They all haven't got in the best points possible. But now they're in a situation where currently they're in the top 7, top 8. So they're going to fight as hard as they would for other people fighting for a win for these positions because they know they need some points on the board. So for Luxa Mirko, he's going to fight against drivers that are fighting even harder to get themselves in points position. So yeah, if you're starting at the back or near the back, you've got a long way to come through. With drivers that definitely aren't going to be letting you through at all unless they want your DRS off you, unless they've got damage. So we'll see what that does. But then again, we look at qualifying here, race clutch. Maybe it's also a setup issue here because I presume they're all using a similar setup. But we got obviously Racington in 10th, then we got Andres Lopez in P50, but then we got race clutch, 17th, 18th, 19th with Joris, Lenny, and Lillian, and they're considerably off the pace. So you start to think here, has the setup gone in the wrong direction here for that team? Because I would definitely assume they're on a very similar setup.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I don't really pay too much heed to the third-party team side of things because it can go either way. Drivers can go their own way as much as they can collaborate. Because remember, they're still rivals on track at the end of the day. And while you do want a good team performance, it's the same... I apply the same rules and the same level of scrutiny as I do the constructors.
Yeah.
While they are working together, and of course being a team they've signed with, there's a little bit more stakes in it than you would a traditional constructors, say at PSGL here. There is still a individual element, so I don't stake as much on it. Koya, curiously, has retired out from the session. I'm not really sure what's happened to him there. Is that a pit lane retirement, or is that... Yeah, that is a pit lane retirement, so he's not going to be setting another lap, maybe a connection issue or otherwise. Either way, he's going to be likely joining Kai Pearson down at the bottom, unless the 5 underneath him do not improve. And Andres Lopez got half a second worth of improvement on his previous run, leapfrogging the current championship leader. So everything is still very much on the table here.
Yeah, indeed. That's a bit of a surprise to see Daniel retire so early. So I'm hoping it's not the case. He doesn't think he can gain time because he's still quite a little bit off pole. So yeah, hopefully we can figure out later on what that issue could have been. But we've got the laps getting underway once again, and Lillian will be leading them away down towards turn 1 for the second time here in this session. Obviously, we're beginning the final lap, so a minute left to go here in this session. So those guys actually at the back need to hurry up because they're going to be struggling to make it in time. The likes of who we got there in the Aston Martin, Jerry Van Bussel, only just coming down to turn 16 with 50 seconds to go here.
Yeah, they're going to be running a little bit of a time crunch, but I think for the most part they're going to be fine. Only one that I'd truly be worried about is Liam Stevens here. He's going to have quite a bit of distance to make up. You can see he's wiggling pretty quickly to try and get heat in his tyres as fast as he can, although not sure what part his connection played in that very sharp movement. I think there's going to be drivers who are going to be fine in all of this, but looking back to the front of the field, Derbicourt on a final run. Now, keep in mind, 39.323. He's 3/10 behind the next competitor of Papinta. He's got a lot of time to make up, so there is going to be plenty riding on this. Of course, his AlphaTauri compatriot has retired out, so he's the only AlphaTauri rep, and he's going to be very close to the wall in the castle section as the checkered flag has now fallen. Everyone is out on a run. And let's see what times these drivers can muster.
Yeah, Lillian does look stronger now, I think, on this lap alone. You know, in the second sector, we'll see in a second where he's up by as he just heads his way down to turn 15, very close to the barriers there. A bit of a slide. Is he up on his time? He's up by 3/10. So at the moment, this is only a 39.0 he's on the card for. So he needs to find another 2/10 in, well, corners that aren't really corners.
Yeah, he's going to have to absolutely push it to the edge here. And you can already see him doing that. He's trying to tuck in as close as he can to the walls. Tried to do that for most of that, but a couple of snaps on the rear, as you were saying earlier, maybe not the most dialed in with this car, has meant that he's lost significant time. Either way, he's managed to creep out an extra half a tenth, but it's only good enough for P18. Next up, you've got a couple of other drivers. You've got Papinta going into P14. You've got Kamil Stachera. Really surprise performance, but he's lost a front wing and is only going to be in P5. Joost Noordijk is going to be in the top honours with a .516. Jan Halliday is going to immediately leapfrog him, doing very well there. It's going to see a couple more cars coming up the field now. Reese Linton gets an improvement, and then Klaffenbach is going to be a .728, or 278. It's going to be a Haas 1-3 as the last few cars are coming through now. Leo Lund abandons. Liam Stevens on a push. Couple more cars coming through. Tycho Hardy only going 8th fastest. Mirko Soriano 12th fastest. And then a few more racers are yet to finish. Let's see, Liam Stevens, no improvement. And with Leo Lund abandoned, that is your qualifying, folks. So Klaffenbach takes it with a 10th and a half to his nearest competitor. Jan Halliday making a stormer. And then Joost Noordijk in 3rd place with Lund in P5. The last one out is going to be abandoning his run.
Yeah, what a lap there from Klaffenbach. 2.78. That's a really good lap, isn't it? You know, considering Jan's in the 0.4s and all those below are in the 0.5s and 0.6s. It's brilliant indeed from the Haas driver, as we'll see what he can do in the actual race. And we can see as well Leo Lund in the top 5, looking good here so far in qualifying. But Jan Halliday, definitely for me, the man of qualifying, 2nd place on the front row after not having, I would say, the best season at all here in this championship. We can see, of course, there it is, of course, Julian on pole. Then it'll be Jan in 2nd and Joost in 3rd. The Triple J's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And then we have Szymon Lakomski in P4, ahead of Leo Lund in 5th. And we have Max Grossputtner in P6, followed by Kamil Sachera in 7th. Tiger Hardy in 8th position. Liam Stevens in 9th. And Joris Krozen rounding out the top 10 there. And then we can see further down, we've got Jerry Van Bussel in P11. Mirko Soriano, our championship leader, outside the top 10 in 12th, followed by Reese Linton in 13th, Bradley Holdham in 14th. Then we have Sergio Sobrino in P15, Lily Papinta in 16th, Daniel Koya in 17th, Andres Lopez 18th, Lillian Debecourt 19th, and Kai Pearson 28th, setting a lap time. And also, along with Mirko, we've got Reese and Lenny also outside the top 10, and they're what? 5 points back from Tycho. Tycho's in the top 10 here. This is looking very good for Tycho if he can try and extend that, you know, if he can try and just extend that gap to 3rd and 4th.
Yep, and there's going to be a little bit of a speculation on our parts, of course, to see who's going to make the most of this. Qualifying is only half the story, of course. We've got the full race to come. Curious little takeaways in terms of domination by sector. Sector 1, that's going to go to Klaffenbach, 34.686. One of the best sector runs that we saw, and about half a tenth clear of the next competitor, who is actually the dominator of Sector 2. That's going to be Joost Noordijk, 39.1, and a tenth faster than even, say, some of the fastest runs that we saw on the track. Sector 3 is going to go to Kamil Sachera in the Ferrari, P7 in the qualifying session overall. Maybe speaks to a little bit, as we look through, maybe speaks to a little bit of the setup data as well. Some people running maybe higher or lower wings, some cars maybe a bit more harder sprung. We'll of course see that as the session progresses. But as for now, we're going to take a short intermission, folks, because we're getting the new lobby set up following the illegal blocking penalties that have to be rectified. The grid has to be reordered, and of course that is going to mean we'll take a short break. We'll be right back with you after this ad from our sponsor. And welcome back, folks. So as a reminder, just in case, we have a bit of a change in terms of our calendar. So Netherlands, unfortunately, Zandvoort is going to be cancelled on the calendar due to coinciding with the newly announced F1 Sim Racing relaunch. So we've got 2 highly competitive events coming on the full core Sim Racing calendar, and that does unfortunately coincide with the PC Round 9 events. So on the Thursday, we are going to be opting to cancel Zandvoort, let that run uncontested, and then we'll be rejoining for Round 10 from Brazil. No Zandvoort, unfortunately, but we've got tonight, and then a week's break, and then we'll be back with you. Because I imagine 90% of the staff team at PSGL are going to be watching the F1 Sim Racing anyway. Let's be honest.
I think we all are. And also, you got to remember, you know, in F2 and F3 especially, there'll be drivers there that'll be looking to help out. You know, obviously there's some development drivers that'll be giving data through, going to be looking to try and find the best setups, the best times around certain tracks, and that will all be needed. You know, a team wouldn't run the best if they haven't got their development roster. We know the teams like RHG and Velocia, they got lots of drivers that help out and get the team to perform the best for when they go, of course, to the F1 Sim Racing Championship. So that's also something we've got to consider as well. That the drivers ain't going to want to race on Netherlands; they want to help out their team. And I wouldn't say Netherlands is the worst road to drop because the racing there is quite difficult. It's not easy to race because of it being quite an old style of circuit, a little bit like Imola, Hungary, in those aspects. You can't really overtake unless you're along that back straight. But then, of course, we're back from Brazil in round 10. Brilliant circuit, one of my favourite when it comes to racing because you can go side by side in every single corner. Then we've got Texas, Costa, of course, the final round. Yet again, a track that you can't not love. It's a brilliant circuit. The only place you can't go side by side there is literally the SC section after turn 1. So this is yet again another brilliant track to have some racing. And also, even though the lap times are running the 31s and 30s, the grid also generally seems to be really, really close. So racing there is also top notch. So I think we've got 2 brilliant rounds here. It's happy to end it off. But with Netherlands being gone, that means now there's only, 34 points available in this championship now to take. Well, after including this round, there'll be 50 summit points are left to take in this championship. That's not a lot, is it?
Yeah, that really isn't a lot. And fundamentally, that is going to shake up the championship order. It's going to be a difficult time for anyone to try and close the gap that Mirko Soriano has made. 16 points between himself and Hardy, who himself is 5 points away from the Alpines. It's still mathematically on the table, and we have seen a bit of a downturn in performance from Soriano, so we'll see how that pans out. But unfortunately, that does narrow a lot of the chances for those who maybe wanted to make an upward swing in the second half of the season. We do tend to see some talent who likes to go for a bit of a second half comeback. Maybe not the strongest of starts, but there's always a couple of drivers who thrive on those last few rounds. Like we see, I think I am putting reasonable money on certainly making some upward swings. It's going to be Jan Halliday, honestly. We saw him in the rounds past. He has been a force to be reckoned with. We saw him tonight, putting on a really good qualifying session. And just in January, I think, despite being a P10 in the championship right now, I think that figure is a little bit deceiving. I think he does get a little bit of... Well, I think he's one of those underrated drivers who tends to go under the radar, doesn't have the massive performances, but he consistently brings it in and really pushes when he needs to.
Well, if you look at last game at Challengers, he scored back-to-back podiums in the Challengers season, and that is yet again against the grid I would arguably say is probably better than this. There's probably a high quality grid on overall. So he's proven before he can be at the top, and he's definitely got the pace to, but this season just hasn't really gone to plan for him so far. The likes of Joost Noordijk as well. Last season he was thinking a few more rounds he could have fought for the championship. And that obviously wasn't the case, so we couldn't, but only on 17 points that ever possible, over 70 points you can score. It's quite surprising to see Joost that far down. We also at the likes of Lilian Derbycore as well, who when I was coming into this season, I was saying he could be a championship contender because in F3 last season he was just flying, or F4, whichever one he was in. He was absolutely flying. He was setting times that were quicker than F2 poles and stuff. So to see him down in 70th is also a big surprise. But then again, I think a lot of drivers are all in that boat, and the likes of Leo Lund, which isn't, unfortunately, even on the top 20 in the standings, he's got to get that 5th place tonight. He needs to get some points on the board. You can't be a full-time driver and not be in the top 20 because that's going to give you a big struggle when the stewards and the organisers come to decide in the championship for season 37.
Yep, and that is going to be a big part of this as well as we kind of look forward and we start to take our eyes further into season 37 and into the feature. Or into the future of what will eventually be F1 24 and our continuations through there. And that is going to be, I think, a very interesting point. Of course, we're waiting on full details of what F1 24 has to offer. But, and I'm sure you maybe speak a little bit more to the experience of this, do you expect much of a reset in terms of talent game to game? Or do you tend to see or expect to see some drivers sort of remaining near the top?
Well, I think it depends because I think, I spoke to quite a few drivers who are near the top this game and they've said that because of the fact that, stuff like traction and that was solved, so it wasn't as difficult, it made the skill gap less because the game was a lot easier to drive. So that's why, we're seeing such a close skill gap and it's hard for you to improve because everyone's that good already. So I think hopefully next game, if they can make some more challenging aspects, we can kind of see drivers who get rewarded for pace more than just being consistent. Because they could be still far, they can still be a couple of tenths off, but win a race because of how close the grid is.
Yeah, no, that's a very valid point. And I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how the competitive order shakes up with the new game. You are quite right that the traction and a lot of the issues to do with the handling model did make this game a bit easier to pick up, I think. And the previous game had its sort of fair share of flaws, but you can say that about any game. And ultimately, while the next game, I know that there's been speculation and rumours of a new engine, but I'm not going to talk about that. I don't want to get into the speculation station. What we do know is, with the return of F1 sim racing at least, it looks like there's certainly a renewed commitment to the esports scene, both on now the official level to match the community level that we've been seeing thus far. And I'm excited for what Season 37 and beyond brings. But we're just getting trackside now, hopefully. Sorry to cut you off. I think we got everyone in. Just waiting on the confirm from lobby host.
Yeah, I'm hoping this next game can be good, and I think it will be. As we said before, new engine could be on the way. If that's the case, it could solve, I think, more than anything, the bugs, which I think have been a bit of a thing that have turned people away from the game, as in it's caused a bit of a sick feeling for some who thought, you know what, I can't be bothered, there's all these bugs, I'll go to iRacing or I'll go to ACC, which have got way less bugs, different cars, but the game, it's a bit more built and composed. So if they can fix one of those big bugs, we could see drivers come back who might have left the scene, on this game and last game, because we know that it's now going to be a lot better. Hopefully, people aren't going to lose race wins and lose positions because of a game being silly, which hopefully I think is the case, and we can get back to more of, I suppose, a fair level, because it also does create that sense of unfairness, like we saw, not to take us back to it, but PCF1 in Canada when Danny Brosnan lost the race win because the game disqualified him.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was. It was ridiculous. Or he got some sort of penalty that disqualified him. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I know for a fact that when it comes to game development, there's a ton of stacking of cards, there's a ton of red tape, and there's all sorts of other things that can play into features working, not working, especially in the modern day. Game development is so difficult. So I don't envy and I empathize with everyone behind the scenes who tries to make the game work as intended. But yeah, it could be a bit of a reset, or it could be an evolution like we saw 22 to 23, maybe 23 to 24. Of course, time will tell. And what we can see in just a second is that we are about to go trackside, folks. So beyond the future game talk aside, and well, we can sort of touch upon that again a little bit later. What we do know now is we are about to go trackside at Baku after a pretty intense qualifying, and now it's looking nice and sunny. Nice and sunny indeed. And here we are, down the pit lane, just getting everyone's setups.
Yeah, I think we should ask everyone in the chat, who do you think will win, guys? I can see you vote for Yost and Jan, but get us in, get some more votes in who you think will take victory, because we've got a very good race on our hands. We've got a race that could end in any different fashion here tonight. And Sappy, something to mention, safety cars could make a big change in the results for this race.
Yeah, and some drivers often bank on a safety car because of Baku, and the castle section in particular, capturing at least one victim regardless of tier. It tends to be the way. So we'll, of course, see how that pans out. I like the comment most that says the quickest driver. Technically not wrong. Technically 100% chance. So well done for playing the system there, my friend. We'll see.
You're not always the quickest to win.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing a couple of other predictions coming through. We're seeing Leo Lund, and I want to see that as well. Put down a good quality performance, even if he didn't commit to his last lap. Shows has got the 1 lap pace, but here we go. It is 5 red lights here in Azerbaijan. The track is hot as we're about to tear up the streets, and here we go. It is lights out, track is hot, and we are away immediately. Really good start from Klaffenbach. He's going to try and get immediately to the apex, and he's going to lay claim to the first corner. You got a bit of tussling further back. You got Tycho Hardy and Leo Lund coming alongside. 3, 4 wide. The Ferraris are getting involved, getting a little bit dicey there. Kamil Stachura potentially getting sandwiched by 2 other cars. He's going to make it out alive, but in P8, it's going to be a pretty dicey situation for him. Meanwhile, Tycho Hardy is going to keep pushing further. Stachura is going to try and push for those positions. positions. You've got a Alpine and a Mercedes also side by side, P10 and 11. That's going to be Reese Linton, and then two abreast, multiple cars behind. Mirko up to P15, but trading with Daniel Koya regularly. Couple other cars to be wary of. Van Bussel, lobby host, and seems to be struggling a little bit for his position. Soft and hards, no mediums coming out today on the strategy. What do you make of that one?
Well, it makes me think that probably everyone's going to go to mediums, and we've got Summer suddenly to the castle there between Joris and Bradley, and woof, that was a bit of a scary moment indeed. But as I was saying, yes, I think most people here will be going onto a set of the medium tyres as this race gets underway. We can see as well Toka Hardy up to P4 here, looking to make moves, and Yost has hit the wall in turn 15. He's going to lose time, and hopefully no damage for the Haas, and Toka now from 8th up to 3rd as they head out of turn number 16. Back down towards turn 1 they go. We can see as well it'll be Camel Sasha looking to defend here from Reese Linton, who's on an absolute charge on those soft tyres here, looking to make moves and get ahead of the hard runners as soon as possible here, along with Jerry Van Bussel as well, who's down in P10, looking to try and gain in. As we can see, of course, Reese there making that move nice and easily, and then Jost Ordot looking to fight back here and make a move ahead of Toka Hardy into turn number 1.
Yep, you can see the soft runners immediately trying to leverage their tyre advantage as soon as they can before they start to fall away and they have to reconsider the swaps. It's looking very hot out on track today. 35 degrees track surface temp, 28 degree ambient. It's looking absolutely roasting. No rain in sight here in Baku, and it's going to be a drag race for multiple drivers to try and manage their strategy as best they can. Curiously, I want to keep my eye on the RHG drivers, P1 and P4, Klaffenbach and Nordyke. The strategy in Portimao, and say sometimes the strategy between the two, it hasn't always worked out. They tend to commit to the same strategy together, and it can get in each other's way.
Indeed, and I think then it also causes frustrations for the both. So hopefully they can get a bit of a better strategy here tonight in PSGL F2 and try and get themselves maybe 1-2 for the RHG or the Haas team. But we can see as well Jan Herde and Toka Hardy going to be making them fight for it very, very hard, because those two are on the pace very nicely so far here in this session. We can see as well now Leo Lund looking to make a pass through Shimon Lekomsky, but Shimon, you can see there wagging his tail on the exit at the corner saying, don't pass me, just work together, there's no point fighting. Might as well just sit together and then pull ourselves along to the train and then make moves when it's necessary. Don't bother making moves now, you're going to lose time. We can see further back as well, Reese Linton once again looking to get ahead of Matt Scrossport now for P7. He's going to have a good exit, using the battery instantly there just to get a bit of overspeed here on the back of the kit car as they head their way back down towards turn number 1. Then we can see behind as well Jerry Van Bussel looking to make a move and get himself into P9 as they head down towards turn 1. Leo Lund makes a pass as they head down that back straight. It's fine to make the move there because you're not going to lose time from it. As we can see Toka Hardy looking to fight for the lead into turn 1, gets past 1 and then looks to get past 2, but a bit of lag there from someone. I think it might have been Julian.
Yeah, a little bit of a hiccup coming in on the technical side, but DRS has now been enabled, so this is where things are going to start to get a little bit more interesting. Drivers are going to now try and factor DRS into their overtaking strategy. We're already seeing that bit with Toka Hardy really trying to close the gap as fast as possible to Klaffenbach. Puts the nose in but doesn't commit fully to the move, and this is where you're going to see not only drivers trying to push for moves as quickly as they can, but start to play a little bit of mind games with their opponents, because they can maybe commit to a move, force them into an unfavourable position, and then take it on the switchback. It's all on the table.
Yeah, a brilliant battle here between Matt Scrossputner and Reese Linton here. Reese looking to get past the hard runner, but just can't find a move past. He was looking side by side every corner there. Through set to 1, but just could never find the move. Into turn 7 they go, looking to try and find a move there, can't do so. But we look further ahead once again, and we can see Toka Hardy there looking to try and keep himself here with Julian Klaffenbach. Of course, 26 laps here, so, you know, relatively, because of how little laps you do, you can probably only get about 8 or 9 laps on these tyres and then being in good, in a good condition. So it's not going to be long here before Toka loses that advantage on the soft compound. So he needs to make moves and keep with the train as quick as he can and as consistently as he can as well. We can see further back once again, Jerry Van Bussel looking to close in and catch up as well to Reese Linton, who just can't find a way past Max Crossputner here. It's like a moving wall, Max is at the moment. Reese has come alongside many times but could never find a way through. We can see further back as well, obviously Mirko Soriano then in P17, a dismal start, but then again he had lots of people behind him on soft, so you're automatically in such a bad position because you've got no choice but to let them through.
Yeah, and this is what sort of separates good versus great defensive driving. It's not so much about putting your opponent in deliberately sort of sabotage positions. It's about making it as difficult as possible for them to get by. So what I mean by that is you can leave just enough space, but put it in such a way where no matter what, you're just going to take them on the switchback anyway. So by all means, they can go for the move. But if you're on the apex, if you have command of the corner and they still go for it, they can't blame you when you ultimately get the better exit and push through anyway. So we're going to see a bit of that in action here from Grosspointer, as he is going to be fighting tooth and nail to keep the position away from Reese Linton. Jeremy Van Bussel is also going to be joining in on the action, making it a potential three-way fight for P7. But let's see what this Sauber can do.
Of course, but the issue that Max has got now is he's got, Reese right behind, but they've lost DRS. He's got a 1.1 second gap, so he needs to push now to get within a second. And for a second then, I thought he hit the wall into Castle. That was very close to the barriers. And Max is within a second. No, he's not. He's just back outside, but he's back within it now. This is good here for Max. He's got himself back into a comfortable position of having that DRS advantage down that back straight. Around this track, DRS matters probably the most, I think, compared to others. We can see there Jerry Van Bussel looking to close in and make a move ahead of Reese Linton. And Reese looking to struggle here, looking to not be able to find the move and have the confidence to make a move ahead of Max at this point. As we can see, obviously, further ahead once more, we can see Joost Noordijk here gaining in here on the rear of Jan Holiday, who's got a 6/10 gap to Tiger Hardy, who's got a 6/10 gap to Julian Kleffenbach here, who's having a comfortable lead so far here in this Grand Prix. They all had their way down to turn number 1 once again. I don't think we'll see Tiger make a move, but he's definitely going to be in a position where if he wants to, he probably could. We can see Jan Holiday here being caught up by Joost Noordijk, and Joost just tucks back in, he's close, but just not even thinking about making a move there into turn number 1. He just sticks behind for now, and they'll continue on into turns 2 and then down towards turn number 3. We can see as well, even at the back, Lenny Pepinta here looking to make a move and get himself ahead of the hard runners, but now it's looking more difficult for the hard runners to make for the soft runners, to make moves.
I think that early advantage, while it can certainly be discussed and talked about, you've really only got about 4, maybe 5 laps on prime softs before they really start to fall away in terms of grip. Not to hard compound levels. We should be seeing them coming up to the sort of medium compound level of grip by now, but that doesn't change the fact that their advantage is gone. The advantage is falling away, and this is where drivers like Grosspointer, they've really done a good job here. Even if he was teetering on the 1 second line for a brief moment, with Chmielakowski actually making a bit of a mistake, as he's done a couple of laps prior coming out of Castle. That means now that those soft runners, their strategy has effectively been compromised by his defensive driving. So he can take a bow on that one in terms of the wider race play. He's looking pretty comfortable here.
Of course, and I think another thing we've got to keep note of here is battery. ERS makes a big difference around where you'll finish here in this race, because we know that, ERS around many tracks means a lot, but here, because of that long straight, having a bit, having even just 10% more than the other competitor ahead can give you a position to make a move and get yourself ahead into turn 1. So, battery, conserving it and using it in the right positions is one of your best friends, I think, here tonight in Baku. Obviously we've got 21 laps left to go. There's a long way to take these guys and to take these cars, so you've got to keep yourself, you keep your head down the whole way and use a battery, use a DRS, use everything, you have to good use. And we can see there, Daniel Kaya and Bradley Holden pitting already. Now, have they got damage, or are they just going for an early pit stop? Because it is rather early to get off the sets of your soft to go to mediums, and no wing change, so just straight to mediums for these. And then isn't that quite early for medium tyres here?
I find that very curious, because both of them were looking like they're in a strong position. I mean, Holden, for instance, was fighting alongside another car. So for him to suddenly bow out and go into the pit lane to jump onto some mediums, I'd say it's a little bit premature unless he's banking on a safety car. I don't really know what the play is here, because those mediums are going to be good, but they're not going to take you the rest of the way from this point. I don't think that's necessarily viable.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do, though. It could also be in the hopes of a safety car, but then again, maybe the tyre degradation is that good right here. You can take mediums 20 laps, but it will definitely be a long shot for those who to take them all that way. But still, the top 3 hasn't changed. The top 10 hasn't changed since lap 1, really. They all made their moves on the soft, and then they've just kind of stuck where they are and used that DRS to pull each other along. So the battling will happen once we get the different sorts of tyres in the play, once we get the different ages of tyres into play. That's when the battling really comes into fruition, because that's when we see a real difference in drivers' pace as they will head now into turn number 16, down towards turn 1 once more. We'll see if any more soft runners decide to head into the pit lane. I'm sure Tycho won't think about it just yet, because he's in a very comfortable position in second place and isn't really losing that much time to those in third and fourth and fifth as they'll head down to turn one once again. Do we see anyone looking to make a move into the pits? No, we don't, unless Joe Van Bussel's thinking about it. He is, yeah, he's right to the left there. So Joe Van Bussel will be making a pit stop. What about Lillian Davenport? No, he stays out. So our third pit stop will be for Joe Van Bussel.
Yep, and a little bit of a mistake from Jan Halliday. I think dropping the rear a little bit coming out of turn one is going to see Joost Noordijk peeking to the inside line there, trying to see if he can get a move done for a podium spot. As we see a yellow come out on sector 1, that is going to be for Sabrino. So he's made contact with the wall. Either that or has had to reset in some form because he was ghosted out, completely stopped on track. Car seems to be intact. Not really sure what went on there.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's much damage on his car, so I'm quite curious to see how that's happened. We can see, obviously, further ahead now, Papinta here looking to make a move on Sashura. Sashura's made a big mistake, hasn't he? Because he's losing time to the field. So Papinta will be keen to get a move, I think, ahead of him if he can. And then, obviously, get the DRS off of his teammates as they headed to turn 7 now. Then into turn number 8 at the start of the castle section as they head their way through there. Luckily, no one has made a bit of a mistake there because as soon as you make a mistake there, that is your race pretty much done and dusted. So we'll now head down towards turn number 15. Once again, we can see, yet again, Joost Noordijk looking to make a move on Jan Halliday. He's closing in very quickly here on the rear of the Aston Martin. Jan, they're just tapping the wall into turn 15. And the thing is, Sappy, even though we might not get proper damage, every time you tap it, you might get 1% here, 1% there of damage. And that eventually does add up to quite a little bit. So that's the issue that these drivers are going to be careful with. Don't hit the walls even if it's slightly, because the more you do it, the more damage your car gets. And now Joost looking to make a move.
Yep, and not to mention the brief loss of grip from hitting the walls, although minuscule, is going to add to your tyre wear. And on a track like this, seems like tyre degradation is the talk of the town as Tycho Hardy's going to be heading in. I don't buy that there's a pretty good degradation because otherwise we would have seen the soft runners be out for much, much longer. A lot of the high-speed corners, a lot of the high G-forces that you're going to experience, particularly on the final sector, are really going to dig into those tyres hard. So we'll see how the strategy plays out for the hard runners in particular, but most of the softs, short of Papinta and Derbacourt, they're all in now for a set of mediums and seem to be wanting to take it to the end of the race. But Sabrino is going to be retiring in the pit lane following his mistake, so he is going to be bowing out in P20. Kai Pearson, though, someone who started P20, is now up in 14th and looking pretty good for himself.
Yeah, he's doing a good job so far, Kai Pearson is, as we can see there. Joe Van Bussel making a move ahead of Reese Linton, tapping the wall there for Reese. That's not ideal as he heads his way into turn number 5. We can see further back as well, Papinta looking to make a move, and Statura's gone a little bit too deep into that corner, and now Papinta's in such a difficult position because he can't find a way past, because you can't. You've got to just stick behind and lose time to those ahead now. So we could see Papinta use a bit of battery here to get it past the rear of the Ferraris. They head their way now down towards turn number 16. Papinta's looking to gain in here, but not enough to make a move. As they head down there, you can see there a bit of a flashing for battery. So Camel's actually used all his battery here. So he is in a very, very difficult position so far in this Grand Prix. So now I wouldn't go past only making a move down to turn 1 unless he's going to opt for the pit lane. But the gap at the front there nearly extending a second here. So Julian has got some brilliant pace in that Haas car. His teammate can barely keep up with him so far in this race. And you can see Julian also has got 80% of battery. So he's not even used much battery to kind of pull away from those guys. But we can see down to turn 1 yet again. Halliday looking to close in here to the rear of Noordijk into turn 1. Doesn't make a move, just backs up completely into that braking zone. We can see Soriano ahead of Liam Stevens now as they head down to turn 1. We can see Papinta and Derbacourt in the pit. So all the soft runners now have entered the pit lane and are done and dusted on those tyres. But we can see as Joost made a move ahead of Jan, he's yet again looking to try and fight back and get ahead of Joost, as also Leo Lund is entering this party.
I don't necessarily think that Jan's actually trying to fight back for that P2 spot. I think
Leo!
a little bit of diciness coming out of there. But I don't necessarily think that Jan's actually trying to fight back for P2. He's just keeping them in proximity, farming them out, because he knows those two are going to have to coordinate in some form, be that pit strategy or otherwise, and he's going to sort of bait them into that. I think he's seen how those two have handled the 1-2 position in races prior, and is kind of banking on them to trip over each other in some way.
Yeah, but also a safety car here would ruin them. A safety car now would literally ruin the R8G strategy. It'd help Julie, but Joost to be done for. So that's what they're going to hope now. No safety car. And otherwise that would really help Jan, Leo, Shimon as well, Camille and Mirko. Mirko would be under a bit of a disadvantage here unless he loses more time to the back of his teammate, as We can see that. Leo Lund looking to try and catch back within that train. He lost lots of time, didn't he, earlier on at turn number 4 after making a bit of a mistake. But now just catch back up and gets himself within a couple of tenths of the top 3 train. We can see further back, though, Liam and Mirko here just pulling each other along to try and catch up to the top 7. They've got a 2.3 second gap here. They're under lots and lots of issues now. They've been so far back. So, yeah, a lot of work is needed here by that train 8th and then. Then all of those who have pitted, we've got Tucker Hardy, technically the net leader of the race, ahead of Jerry, ahead of Reese. So we could see here Reese looking to make a move because he's catching up now as they head down to turn 1 and I think Reese made a mistake there because look how much time he's Jerry's made
a little bit of a battle behind. You can say Andres Lopez and Kai Pearson, they were banging tyres. Sorry to cut you off, mate, but these two were really sort of getting in each other's space. Even now, Andres and Kai are continuing to trade blows one another. They are knocking each other left, right, and centre. As Kai is going to go for the second attack, he's going to get second DRS. Andres is going to have no choice but to tuck behind him. He burnt all his battery on the defensive manoeuvres, and now both Kai and Andres are out of the DRS, and both of them are out of battery too, although Kai seems to be pushing it a bit harder.
Yeah, they're using a lot of their battery power through that section, through that battle. But, you know, it's overall lost some time. So battling obviously isn't always the best around this circuit, especially when you're going to fight for DRS positions ahead. As we can see the train head through in towards the castle section once more here. And Lekomska there for a second was out of that DRS gap, but now has got himself within a second of the top 4, obviously being Joost, Julian, Jan and Leo. So they now head their way down towards turn number 15 and 16. You can see further back, of course, now Tiger Hardy looking to gain in here on the back of that top 12 train. Got a 4.1 second gap now, Sappy, as they head down towards turn 15, so it shouldn't be too long before he catches up to those who yet are still to pit.
Yep, and Tycho with the choice to go in earlier than the other 2 runners is going to make things play out a little bit differently relative to the rest of the field. So, of course, Tycho has the net lead of the race. He has taken his stop, but it's still quite a substantial time gap that he's going to have to make up. 3.7 seconds now to the next driver of Andres Lopez, but while he's in this sort of oasis of his own, he's not got DRS to contend with, and Reese Linton, who is directly behind, is going to be a veritable thorn in his backside throughout the next few laps, at least. In fact, you can already see him trying to press his advantage here. They're both on even keel tyres-wise, but Reese is not content with staying behind him. He's going to be pushing him to the limit, and he's going to be doing it now.
Yeah, Reese wants to make the moves. He knows he needs to. He's working here with Tycho at the moment. They've got to catch up to Lopez and those ahead, and then once they get to, they can fight a bit more because, yeah, more people will have pace to do so, and they'll be able to keep themselves within DRS of the others around them. So, a little bit more battling can be, beneficial as the race gets underway. But for now, keep themselves in that train along each other. Don't make moves because there's no need to. We can see, of course, Leo Lund now looking to just keep with the top 4 for now. We can see further back as well. Makomsky and Grossport now just sitting with that train as well, very close to the walls of Grossport was as they went through towards turn number 12 at the castle section. And then further back as well, Mirko and Liam haven't really gained enough at all, have they, on that top 7 train? They're still 2.3 seconds back. So they've got a lot of work to do now in the remainder of this race. Otherwise, they're going to be in a really, really poor strategy when it comes to pitting.
Yeah, and I'm keeping an eye as well on the 2 Ferraris. Currently P7 and P8, Camel ahead of Mirko. Both of them on the same strategy in roughly a similar scenario to the 2 Hasses currently sat P1 and 2. So they're going to have to coordinate and pray they don't trip over one another when it comes to strategy for their pit stops. But looking a bit further ahead, Leo is going to draw a little bit closer to the back of Jan Halliday. He's going to draw within a couple of tenths, but notice how they're backing off, and quite a few drivers are doing so. In fact, they're not going to be going for the full fight. Someone who is going to be fighting is going to be Reese Linton, as there's a 3-way fight even further behind between Van Bussel, Papinter and Koya. Oh, in fact, looks like Hold'em is in there as well. They're all going to be fighting for positions. Medium runners got a little bit more spark, a little bit more fight in them all, as Shimon Komsky is going to rescind P6, or P5 I should say, as Max Grosspointer is going to be pushing.
Mirko!
Oh, Mirko! Something's happened to Mirko. He's hit the wall. His car's in one piece. His car is still in one piece, luckily.
Oh, no, it's not. He's got damage, hasn't he, surely?
I'm not reading any damage on the telemetry, but I'm not getting any data output from him either. He's not exporting it. Nothing visible, but he's definitely running slow. He's definitely struggling right now.
Yeah, it looks like he let Bradley and Daniel through as well as he heads into turn 7 here. Well, is he gonna be 2 races in a row where Mirko finishes last of the finishers? Because he's in a very difficult situation now. He's got a 3-second gap to Lopez, who's then got another 1.5 seconds to Liam, who's then got 2-3 seconds to the front. So Mirko is very far off the lead now. So he's in a very difficult situation, isn't he, at this point? So, well, our championship leader coming under pressure once again here in this championship. Like we saw season 34, sorry, where he fought for it, lost it in the last few races due to pressure. It seems that could be happening again here.
Yeah, things have not gone well for Soriano. Both the last race and this one now. We could see that cushion all but dissipate. As now we've got a bit of trading at the front and the back as Klaffenbach is going to be yielding to Joost. Jan Halliday is going to be getting very close as well. Shimalakomsky is heading into the pit and Tycho Hardy is starting to make some moves on the hard runners. So now Reese Linton's already done it. He's made some very good moves. He's up in P8 right now. And then Tycho Hardy up in P11, trying to chase down those who are on the hard compound of tyre. But he's not quite got the proximity that he would have liked, as Joris Krozen is a bit further up the road. He's trying to close that gap. Van Bussel is going to be getting ahead of Lopez now. And we're seeing that Williams start to drop off a little bit. Not that the tyres are giving out, but the mediums are just showing their strength here as a good middle ground between pace and endurance. Although Tycho Hardy, with a very rough set of chicane, or a very rough chicane, is going to be looking a little bit off pace. No, he's managed to recover it very nicely. And in fact, he's up ahead of Krozen now, heading into the castle.
Well, I'm starting to think, was it Tycho that got into contact with Mirko? Because look how far back he's dropped. He's now over a second behind and he's been passed by, I think, 2 of the hard runners there of Kai and Liam. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there. Maybe Tycho's come under a few issues, but recently to the still, our net race leader on the far lap, old hard medium tyre, sorry, looking very strong at the moment with a 1.8 second of a gap to Tycho Hardy, who's net second, and then Joe Van Bussel, who's in net third. On those 6-lap old medium tyres, we can see now Reese looking to gain him within a second, probably next lap, of Kamil Stachura, and then the 3 leaders still saying out, of course. Unless there's pit stops being made. Klaffenbach and Halliday, Lund, Grosspointner, and Stachura all pitting together. All of them at the same time. It's not very often we see them 6 drivers pit together, is it?
Yeah, and you can tell that they're a lot more coordinated in the Haas's end in terms of strategy this time, because Joost deliberately went out ahead, and I think Klaffenbach, in fact, dropped down to P7 for into the second position for the purpose of going into the pit lane, of jumping onto a set of mediums. And now we're going to see things get a little bit feistier, because now Joost is in a tight spot. 5.3 seconds up the road is Reese Linton. Tycho Hardy's now brought it back within half a second, and in fact getting very close to the back of Reese Linton. So whatever doubts we had about his pace before, I think I'm personally going to put him to bed, because he seems to be very much on the money with his strategy right now. But Joost has got a little bit of pressure on his hands, because now, as we can see, Klaffenbach down in P15, Sabrino has left the session properly, and then a few more hard runners remain. So Stevens in P4, Kai Pearson in P5, Krozen in P8, Lopez in 10th, and then Soriano, our championship lead, although you wouldn't think it at this point in time in the race, is down in P12 and needing to make a pit stop fairly soon.
Yeah, of course, we can see here Joe Van Bussel now looking to close in and make a move on Kai Pearson. We can see as well Reese Linton now bringing that gap down to under 5 seconds to Joost Noordijk, and Joost still has to make a pit stop, so he will have to be on the left pedal the whole way through the next part of his race, of course, to try and get some very good points and try and get where he was at the start of the race, which is second place. We can see now Van Bussel here looking to get ahead of Pearson down towards turn number 1, and Lenny Pepinta following behind. Lenny gets past Joe Van Bussel here. Pepinta's on a decent strategy. Gets past 1, gets past 2, gets past 3. Does Pepinta down to turn 1. Brilliant there from Lenny Pepinta. Into third place he goes as they head down to turn number 1. We can see as well in that battle Kai Pearson still staying out on those hard tyres, not looking to pit just yet in this race. And we can see all those who had to make a pit stop. Where did Joost come out compared to this? He's lost a bit of time here. Grosspointner will get past him. So will Stetter, I think. Oh no, where's he going to come out? Yeah, comes out just ahead of Grosspointner here. So actually, it's not worked out too badly here for Noordijk.
Yep. say, not ideal, but could have been a lot worse for him. He's still going to come out in a pretty good position, and crucially, he's on those fresher tyres, so he's going to have a bit of a pace advantage that he's able to leverage as we go into the later stages of this race. Gross Pointer, in fact, hitting the wall quite severely, so Staturer is going to get a free P15 out of that. One driver I'm very impressed by is Papinta. Brilliant double overtake at the straight. Goes to show patience is very much rewarded. He waited for Van Bossel to go for attack on Pearson, made him be the one to sort of cut through the pack, and then he just slipped through behind, tucked even further to the right side, and got that nice double with an ideal line into turn 1 to confirm. Very nicely done from the Alpines.
Yeah, of course. And remember, Lenny Papinta started down, I think it was in P17, so he's had a really, poor qualifying, and now he's looking to try and get himself a decent top 10 position here in this race. So Papinta's looking to, work hard and deserve some good positions here in this Grand Prix. Of course, Reece Linton still in that championship fight, of course, and Mirko, most likely, not going to score points here tonight. I don't think he will because of how far back he is, and he's still going to make his pit stop here. So, Mirko looking to score no points. This isn't good at all for him at all, to be putting us for 2 rounds and to have Tiger Hardy and Reece Linton fighting for the lead, who are 2 of his big rivals. This is very bad for our championship leader. So we'll head their way through in towards turn 1 again, and Tiger Hardy takes the lead away from Reece Linton, and Papinta here looking to get himself back within a second here of the top 2, and Van Bossel there just on the back of Papinta looking to keep in, just keep within a second of him as they head down towards turn 4. Now we can see Mirko defending here against Halliday.
Yeah, and Reece Linton is going to briefly peek for the move, but he's not going to go for it into turn 3. This is where Soriano's championship effort started to fall apart a little bit. He's the last driver out on the hard compounder tyre. We're seeing a little bit of Groundhog Day in the sense that he's remained committed to a tyre that's clearly not working for him deep into the race. Although, big
into the wall!
That is Staturer into the wall. His car remains fully built, but that is a safety car coming out for the debris. And that is going to be a big shake-up to the race dynamics of this one. Tycho is in the lead, but is he going to go in? 8 laps on the mediums. He could go for another set here and really bring that advantage in his favour. Joris, though, getting 5 seconds for ignoring yellow flag. I wonder if students are going to appeal that. Maybe the game had a hiccup or what?
Yeah, that's it. This is now going to really change the dynamic of this race. What do those guys in the top 5 do? Because then, behind those, is Julian Klaffenbach on a 2-lap old set of mediums who has just flew through the pack along with Jan, Leo, Shimon. So the top 5 are in a really struggling position now. What do they do is a question. Someone's made a mistake on that down at turn. Bradley Holdham's had a disconnection here because he's now lost time from the train. What a shame here for Bradley Holdham, who was in the points.
I feel bad for Lukomsky because he's stuck behind this Ghost, and even under SC conditions, Ghost, if you're behind a Ghost, you cannot keep good time or really read the field, track or safety car. Everyone's going to be jumping in, though, at the front of the field at least. And it looks like it's going to be fresh sets of mediums all round. Yeah, but Klaffenbach remains out. And, of course, the earlier pitters are going to not really see the point in going in.
No. So Hardy could also be in a position to win this race now, considering where he is on better tyres. So this is looking good here for Zoka. Hardy, Reece Linton, Van Bossel as well. And Papinta, obviously, due to having to pit with his teammate, has now dropped back down to P12. So it's not worked out too well for Papinta, but I think we're going to be out to pit off of those tyres. We can see as well, Derbacor, Kaya, Soriano has been saved here. But the thing is, Mirko's got to make up now 7 positions. There's a lot of positions to make up here.
Bradley's AI has not done him any favours. He's on old softs. He's out of all of this. He's gone on to old softs. His AI has royally put him in the mud here. Very nicely done, game. Thank you for your support. I really feel for him here. He gets a disconnect. He's going to come back into the race, and it might as well be over for him. I really do feel for him, honestly.
1 second. I've got a halfway. I'll be back in a sec.
Looks like we're going to see a little bit of the track as we are getting the safety car queue fully formed. Stasher, of course, has to catch up, and then we're going to go for 1 lap after that. I don't think we're going to see the safety car go longer than lap 19. should be coming in at 19 if that goes to plan, because everyone is quickly bunched up. Statura is a few seconds behind, but that's not going to stretch for long. He has to catch up to the queue.
I'm back. Sorry, I had a private number call me, and I was thinking, who's this? And it was a scam call. Yeah, I was hoping it was from my job, but I know it'd be a bit too late. But I was just hoping, but no, no, just a scam call. So sorry about that, Sappy. But there's luckily nothing to talk about at the moment anyway. Just apart from waiting for this race to get back underway. We've got what 9 laps left to go. We'll have 8, I think. Actually racing. So, well. This could be a very, very interesting ending, couldn't it? Because we got new mediums versus older mediums fighting for positions, and Mirko is going to have to push like hell now, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is going to have work cut out for him. He's in fact going to go back into the pits again, which I find very curious, although given how he's pretty low down in the order, hasn't got that much to lose. But he's going to go onto a set of softs. He's going to try and take those to the end. And you got to think, 7 laps of full core running, it's not going to be too far-fetched to suggest that the softs might have a chance here. But Lopez is going to go onto fresher mediums. Suriano and Stature are both going to go onto fresh softs. So I wonder how this is going to play out. They are going to be in a very difficult position to have to effectively fight their way back up to the top again if they want any chance of scoring meaningful points. And Tycho Hardy, by comparison, P7 on some of the fresh softs, or no, fresh mediums, sorry. Only 1 lap old, but that might as well not be counted other than getting them up to temperature.
Yeah.
He's going to have a really good opportunity to make some waves here. And if he plays his cards right, if he wins this tonight and Suriano doesn't score, he's going to be on even keel heading into the penultimate round.
Yeah, definitely. This is going to be... This is a... Oh, what's happened to Van Bussel?
Oh, Van Bussel having a bit of an issue.
Yeah, was he behind? He was behind Hardy, wasn't he?
Yeah, not sure.
Pinter. Oh.
maybe he just had a lost traction. But either way, safety car can't be sort of chasing that back up. Game hasn't argued that there's illegal overtakes, otherwise he'd be racing back up there now.
Is the safety car going in because it's moved?
Should.
What is the Oh no! What is the safety car behind the cars?
I don't.
Oh no!
Okay, I am a little bit confused. I'm a little bit perplexed. I'm not going to lie to you. We haven't had a race control call.
And well, Julian's going pretty much. Is he going full speed? What's Julian? Julian's going full speed here. So are we back underway?
I don't really know, but we're going to keep an eye on to the top of the field as it looks like they are going full green flag speed once again. And the safety car has had a little bit of a moment, but it doesn't seem to be going in either. We seem to be in this weird limbo state of the game right now.
They've got to catch back up to it again, haven't they?
Oh, no. Have they got to catch back up to it again? What is going on here?
This is good for Bradley, though.
What is going on? I don't even know really what to make of it. Because I haven't seen this. I have not seen this before. Oh, there you go. Bradley is coming back out in the, in the driver's seat once again, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows because he's going back out onto old medium. So he's going to have to pit yet again for new mediums. I think, once again, the game has not treated him too favourably throughout all of this, but he'll have a chance to recover now that everyone is trying to chase up to the safety car once again. Well, second time's the charm, eh?
Well, my guess is now that the safety car goes in again. Well, they'll go to the safety car, they'll do 1 lap and it'll go in again. Because I'm sure that happened before. I'm sure I've seen it happen before. So, yeah. And also, Evil makes a good point in the chat. He says, did they fix the escape bug when you clicked escape and went out? It brings you back, and has that also affected the safety car? Because Jay Van Bussel was the host, wasn't he? And then he dropped back. So, is that the reason why the safety car's done that? And hopefully, that's the only reason why it can sort itself out.
Your guess is as good as mine, mate, honestly. At this point, it feels like it's all attached together with various spaghetti codes, hopes and dreams, and there's one tab with music playing. And to be blunt with you, I'm not really sure what the game is thinking right now.
Hello, safety car.
Either way, welcome back, Safety Car. Good to have you. It's almost as if I've seen you before. Ever heard of Groundhog Day? Because I'm sure you'd absolutely love it. We're not going immediately back in, but we're going to have one lap of Safety Car running. Imagine if this went all the way to lap 24, if it just looped ad infinitum. That would be...
Yes, end up to the end and it wins the race. So, safety car wins!
Bernd Mailander, the best F1 driver of them all in the end. We knew it.
Pit stops.
Got a couple of other cars who are going to take advantage of the situation, and honestly, I don't blame them. Lopez, Statcher, Holden, all coming back in. Holden we knew about. We knew it was kind of planned that he'd have to go in either way, but Lopez going to be coming out now onto a set of Red Bulls. Fresh softs, because now it's confirmed he is going to be getting prime soft time all the way to the end.
Yep, and Holden has gone to a set of mediums, so that makes me think, because he's not got any softs to use. Because otherwise, surely with 6 laps to go, you wouldn't opt for a set of medium tyres, would you? You go onto a set of the Red Bulls that are just really, really quick and just going to fly past everyone on the old mediums. Or, well, theoretically.
Well, it could technically tail off the rest of the field and use them as the sort of cutting edge to then sort of file back through. Like we saw with Pinter, for instance. He waited for Van Bussel to make the move and then jumped ahead at the last second. He let him be the leading edge. That was then the gateway opened to his move. So we'll see how the strategy plays out. Thinking about it, safety car, most laps led in F1 history, and 0% crash rate. So who's the real winner here? That's all we're going to say here. And it looks like, as we're coming up to the end of lap 20, drivers are going to be remaining committed. We're not seeing the same levels of advantage that we may have seen from the strategy. So Tycho Hardy, for instance, we kept an eye on him because he had fresher mediums to the rest of the field. But now that gap is not looking as strong. He's going to have a little bit of swing in his favour, given that he is going to be still 3 laps down, and those 3 laps were under safety car running. But the fresh softs are going to be the real winners. And then safety car is confirmed. No bugs, no ifs, no buts, certainly no coconuts. That would be a safety hazard. It's going to be Klaffenbach as the safety car is now in, and he is going to control the race as we get back up to green flag speeds in just a moment.
Well, we'll see what Julian can do. Obviously leading the race ahead of Jan Hardy, ahead of Leo Lund in 3rd position here. Those 3 looking to get victories, looking to try and fight for big points here in this championship. Mirko Soriano in 16th on a set of the soft, looking to charge through as well and get himself back into the points. And Tycho Hardy, the man to watch, the man fighting for the championship here ahead, to try and get ahead, of Mirko Soriano on newer medium tyres, looking to try and get himself a little bit further ahead than he is down in P7. But we can see now Julie going slow, just nursing the tyres through, you know, weaving a little bit there to just keep a little bit of heat going into them as they get ready to put his foot down. You can see Jan eagerly waiting, just waiting for Julian to go. Julian's gone. He's off down towards turn 1, and Jan getting a decent start further back. Let's see, does anyone get a good start? Leo Lund, bit of a poor start there. We can see his old Gross partner already side by side with Lukomski and Nordyke as they head down to turn 1. Who's going to make moves here as they head into the braking zone? Nordyke looking to get ahead of Lukomski, bit of contact there. Nordyke goes round, nearly Tycho Hardy back ahead of Rieslinton. They head down to turn 2. We can see Gross putting him ahead of Nordyke as well to get himself into B5, but Joost tries to stick up the inside. They go through turn number 2, down towards turn 3 they go. Tycho Hardy now on the scene, looking to try and find a way through, but when you've got 2 cars going side by side, Sappy, you can't stick a nose up the inside or the outside.
Yep, you've got to play it so carefully when you're double wide like you are here. You can see Nordyke, Grosspointer committing to each other's fight. Grosspointer is going to have to tuck back, but Tycho Hardy is immediately there to resume the challenge and keep the pressure immediately on as Sabakar. He's going to fire it to the inside. A little bit of contact made. Once again. Big hits now as the 2 trade blows. It's going to be Tycho Hardy going down to P8 as Reese Linton's going to get squeezed against the wall. It's Tycho Hardy. He's not giving up yet. He wants that move. He wants the P7. He wants it bad. He's not going to give it for anything. Into the castle, just about squeezes it. Derbacourt, though, is sideways at the back of the field. He's going to have to reverse and get his car in a 3-point turn back on field. And that is going to disrupt his race. That's going to be a race ender for him there. He's not getting any points paying positions today.
Yeah, it was Soriano and Derbacourt that game to contact there down towards that corner. So a big shame for those two to lose out once again now in this race. But we can see Rieslinton there looking to try and catch up to that top 5. Tycho Hardy got really kind of affected by that bit of batting there with Max Grosspointer. And now he's in a very difficult position trying to fight back and get himself within a second for when that DRS gets activated. We can see further back as well, Liam Stevens under pressure here from Pepinta. Pepinta makes a move into P10, goes Pepinta, now we can see Halliday into P1, he goes, takes the lead of the race as they head down to turn 1. Lund looking to close in behind, close to making a move there on the back of the Haas, but just not quite close enough here to make the move and get himself in towards that top 2 position. Still in the podium, however, is Leo Lund here, looking to try and take a podium after I think no point finishes this season so far, as yet again cross pointer on the back of Tiger Hardy, but this time got no battery to make a move. He goes to the inside, or the outside, sorry, at turn 3. Can he get the move done again? He goes to the outside line, Toka to the inside, contact, and cross pointer into the wall.
That's brutal. He went right into the wall there, had nowhere to go. Tycho looked like he was committed to the single file, but that's going to be round. That's going to be Stevens. Stevens is sideways. There's a yellow coming out briefly as there's going to be debris on the track. And in fact, Stevens, I think, has either ghosted out, disconnected, or he just paused in the nick of time. But either way, oh, there you go. He is back to full collision. Or not. No, he's disconnected properly. It looked like his car went solid for a split second there, so I thought he was back in it. But unfortunately, it looks like he is well and truly out of the run in there. He's going to be another casualty to add to the long list of Baku. Though, no casualties of the section that shall not be named for fear of curse.
Of course, it's a very curseful circuit, isn't it, this? You say one thing about a driver and instantly they crash. Down towards turn number 16, we can see Nordike, Linton looking to battle here for P4, 5 and 6. And we can see here Reese already spamming that battery, looking to get as much power as he can out of that car as they head down to turn 1. Lukovsky gets eaten up by Nordike and Linton. Linton looks to take one. He looks to try and take 2 cars. It down towards turn 1. And Reese Linton now looking to try and fight and get himself into a position to win this race. We can see as well Crozen having a battle with Tiger Hardy. He's lost them so much time now. Hardy's going to have to come back and take P7 away if he can from Jonas Crozen, and into P7 goes Tycho Hardy now as they head back down in towards turn number 2 and 3. We'll see what Reese Linton can do here to get past Leo Lund.
I want to say, Linton looking like an absolute rocket here. He got 2 overtakes, seemingly very smoothly against Nordike and Lukomsky. 2 very formidable drivers because they've been at the top end of the field for quite a substantial part of this race. Linton's not done either. He's going to remain committed. He's going to poke the nose in, albeit briefly, on Lund's P3 spot, and he's going to watch the rest of them fight. Now, this is going to be the crucial part. Play it a little bit patient. Use the DRS. You've only got a couple of laps for it. You're in a good position in terms of resource. Just don't let Nordike get the jump on you. Play it a little bit defensive, but now it's a chance where he can make some big moves depending on how conservatively the drivers above him are fighting.
Yeah, and it looks like at the moment everyone's against Tycho here. We've got Yoris, Jerry, Max, all fighting heavily with Tycho, and now Tycho's down in P9 and can't even get past anyone. He's actually lost positions, even though he's on better tyres than many that have got past him as they all head down now towards turn number 16. And Yoris just about lost that DRS. He needs to get within a second to try and pull himself alongside Jerry Van Bossel. Can't do so as they head down towards turn number 16. But back to the lead we go. We can see Leo Lund there looking to get a move and jump ahead of Julian Klaffenbach here for P2. He's using some battery now. Going to have that DRS lease up, I believe, as they head down to turn 1, and you can see they're just tucking in behind the rear of the Haas. Makes the move to the inside. Can he get the move complete, though, as they head down to turn 1? No, he can't. He's using battery, but it's doing nothing. He'll go 3-1 into turn 1. It'll be Leo, Julian, and Jan. Who will take that? It'll be Julian ahead of Leo. Ahead of Jan Halliday. Jan goes to the outside now as they head down towards turn number 2. Can Leo get the move done at the inside? He's going to have the inside line, but now we've got Reese Linton here, Sappy, right behind, looking to try and get himself ahead now.
Yeah, Reese is going to be like a vulture. He waits for them to fight, and he commits right when they're least expecting it and least in a position to defend. Reese is going to get a little bit of contact on the back left of Lund, but he has got the P3. Jan Halliday had to concede because Linton just had the pace, had the battery, and the wherewithal to take the position. Klaffenbach goes defensive. He immediately goes as far out wide as he can to try and get an optimal line, and he tries to throw off Lund. Maybe try and putting in a disadvantageous position, but Soriano, back down at the bottom end of the field, has completely lost his way. He's practically limping around the circuit, and I wonder if he's having a connection issue because he seems to be teleporting around the circuit.
Yeah, he also had a bit of a spin, I think, as well when he had that incident. So, you know, Mirko here, what a shame this championship is looking to be now for him. He was, what was it, third, second, first or something throughout the races. Then it was a 20th, and now it's going to be a 19th here. for Soriano. So what a shame this championship is, it could end up being if he can't get himself back onto what it should be and to the pace it should be on. We saw it in season 34, the exact same thing. Dominant for the first half, second half could barely scrape a point, and that is the issue which Mirko is facing right now at this current point. But back to looking at who's going to take the lead. We've got Reese Linton now looking to gain in here on the rear of Leo Lund, and Leo looking to make a move as well on the rear of Julian Klaffenbach. Down to turn one, we can see Leo looking to make the move. Reese gets one. Reese is going to look to make it 2 or 3-1 into turn one. Reese, no, he backs off, he knows. He wants DRS as they head down to turn 3. That is the key part there for Reese Linton. Use this like a chessboard. Make sure you get everything in the right position to then go for the attack. If you don't get it in the right position and you attack, you're going to be on the disadvantage situation. So now Reese, if he wants, could probably sit behind the back of Leo now and just coast all the way to the final lap.
I'm going to go even further here. I'm going to say Reese shouldn't, in fact, overtake. You see, he doesn't go for the overtake on this DRS zone.
Yeah.
Why? It's so he can get it on the last lap, and then that way Lund has no recourse. But Klaffenbach's likely going to be thinking the same, so they're both going to be trying to conserve as much as they can. In fact, Klaffenbach looking like he's in the best position. Although he's got slightly older tyres, his battery is looking pretty much full, so he is going to have the full resource in order to be able to take moves and keep them, as Grosspointer is going to be retiring in the pit lane. He seemingly had an issue, and Mirko, from what we can hear, is also having a bit of an issue. Apparently he's just noped out.
Well, if you get taken out twice by what Jonas says, then I don't say we can blame him, I suppose. He's at the bottom. There's no point racing for nothing at this point. But we're now heading on towards the final lap of this race. Leo Lund now looking to try and take victory ahead of Reese Linton, ahead of Julian Klaffenbach. But remember, to the line, it's a long run. So if you make a move here, you can easily be re-overtaken. Back down towards the line once again, once we head through the final lap. So they head down to turn 1 now. Who will be making moves is the question. Julian has got so much battery, more than the others. He burns it, he uses it, but he stops using it now. He gets back on the ferry. You can see just using the battery conservatively as they head to turn 1. Leo Lund now under pressure here from Linton, under pressure from Klaffenbach as they head into turn 1. It'll be Reese who takes the lead. Julian takes second and Leo Lund in third, but sends it on the back of Julian. They make contact into turn 1, and Leo for now is just ahead of Julian Klaffenbach. Now the question is, who will take victory? Is Julian nearly into the wall? He is into the wall at turn 2 and luckily gets away unscathed, but now Jan Halliday is arriving on the scene.
Yep, and crucially, throughout all of this fighting, Reese has cleared it. He's got a second clear, and Klaffenbach and Lund are going to continue to fight. Klaffenbach obviously not happy with basically being squeezed into the wall. He's having absolutely none of it. He's going to use that extra battery, use that little extra bit of DRS. So that's going to be Klaffenbach to take P2, but in all of that fighting, Lund's basically lunge, he's going to be now basically conceding Linton the win. 1.1 seconds, that looks irreconcilable. Linton, I think, has it, short of any drama.
Yeah, now Leo Lund's going to be under pressure here from Jan Harder because Jan's got 40%, Leo's got 15. Leo's lunch there has really ruined his chance of possibly a podium here tonight, and that was yet again a bit of silly racecraft has costed him a podium. We saw it back in many of the races where he's done something a bit silly on the last few laps, got under a bit of pressure, and has lost himself the chance of getting some very good positions. Right, we look back to the front though, but Reese Linton, I think here, is going to be looking to take victory. He's got a 1 second gap, he's going to be clear, he's using his battery now just to head down towards the line, but Reese Linton in a race of chaos here tonight after a qualifying that didn't look the best here for the Alpine. Will be coming through in towards the final corner, down a long back straight up towards the line, and now will put himself only 3 points back from our championship leader. Reese Linton takes the victory here in Azerbaijan ahead of Julian Klaffenbach and Jan Herde, who gets third, and Leo Lund drops down to P5 after Jost Nordholt gets him by a tenth of a second to the line. What a battle there between third, fourth and fifth.
Yeah, but the last few drivers now coming through, and Stevens retires out actually before the line, I think, or something has happened. But either way, he's going to be getting a DNF to his name. But Reese Linton, back up to the top. Real zero to hero story from him. Didn't do too well in quali, and you can see from his start position to now winning the race, that's plus 12 spots. That is a massive rise. He played this to great effect. Strategy was on point. He kept himself out of trouble. He let the rest of the field fight, and he picked up in the spoils. He did really well here tonight, and as emblematic with the fight between Lund and Klaffenbach, those two fought. He just slipped on by, let them take care of business while he sailed off into the distance.
Yeah. And, well, what a race it could have been here for Togo Hard. He was looking to fight for the victory here tonight, but got into a bit of contact with Matt Squires, putting a few points, and then also got into a bit of a battle with Joris Krozen, and that cost him probably the chance of a victory, because now he takes 2 points away from a race where his championship rival scored nothing. 0 points there for Mirko. It could have been 16 for Hardy, and it could have put him literally 0-0 in terms of the championship. But no, that won't be the case. And I think one lesson for many drivers today is, to not race properly, because that isn't the word, but they've got to kind of put themselves into the best positions at the best times. Because today we saw many people be in a very good position and lose it like that instantly. Click of the finger for Leoland, 3rd to 5th. He was looking to fight for the win literally a few corners before. And one small mistake cost him that victory. But we can see, of course, the final classification on our screens. And it will be Rieslington who takes the victory from 13th on the grid. And then it'll be Julian Klaffenbach who will go from pole to 2nd to make another podium this season. And Jan Halliday looking for a podium and gets it here tonight in Baku ahead of Joost Noordijk in P4, Leo Lund in 5th, followed by Joe Van Bussel in P6, Lukomsky in 7th, Sachere in P8, Hardy 9th, and then Andres Lopez rounds out the top 10. And then we'll have Bradley Holdham in 11th, followed by Kai Pearson, who actually had a bit of an issue in qualifying now, finishes just outside of the points in 12th, followed by Lenny Pinter in 13th, Daniel Kaya in P14, followed by Joris Kroos and Leland Devcourt and Mirko Soriano, the final of the finishers. And we did lose Liam Stevens, Matt Grossman, and Sergio Serino throughout the course of that race. So, Sappi, what a race we had there. It was very good to the end. We couldn't quite tell who was going to take the win, but in the end, it was Reece Linton who started from 13th. It wasn't a good qualifying. I said he was going to be in a bit of trouble. Well, he proved us wrong, didn't he, by getting the win?
Yep, and today is a day where we talk about damage control. For some drivers, it was a chance to take a rough qualifying and through attrition and through playing the field, like we saw with Linton, to great effect and now scoring massive points. That's going to certainly help him in the championship. That is going to put him in P2 up against, and one of the main protagonists in the fight, against Mirko Soriano. Soriano, in the same breath, he's had 2 races now of rough times. Yeah. He's gone P20 and P16. Yeah, P17. Sorry. So he is obviously not looking too happy. He's not going to be a happy bunny after this race. All he needs is a single points finish. If you do the math and what available points there are, a single points finish of about P7 is all he needs to secure this championship. He did so well in the first half of the season that's all he realistically needs. So, of course, we are going to see how that plays out. For now, we are going to see if anyone wants to have a chat with us. We've got, of course, a few stories to tell from some. We've got, I think, Jan and Julian in the commentary box here. And Nathan, I'm going to let you lead on this one. Let's see what we got from the team.
First of all, we'll speak to Jan. Jan, welcome in, mate. Can you hear us?
Yes. Hello.
So, P3, it's unfortunately been a while since we've been in the commentary box for yourself, so great to see you back in the top 3. Podium here tonight in Baku. Obviously, I know a lot of people hated it, but did you enjoy this track or not?
Well, historically, this track was one of the best for me. We had the E-Series race like I think 2 months before, and I finished like P19, so I had no confidence going into this, considering also we have to prepare for esports with my team. So I didn't really practice, but I guess it paid off because I had no pressure on me during both qualifying and race, and I honestly enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing, and you also get to enjoy a podium at the end of it. And going on to the final couple of laps, it was quite hard between you and I think the other 5 who was fighting for that win. In the end, do you think it was the fact that you saved your battery up a little bit on that last lap to fight past there, the reason why you got 3rd, or do you think it was just the fact that you was quicker than them?
I think I played it well. I played it quite smart just to get points because I got killed a lot of times on this game, so I just wanted to keep it safe, get some good points, and yeah, it was a podium, so I'm very happy.
Of course, and Sappi, you were saying earlier on that you think Jan will work his way up in the championship, and obviously you 15 points now. You'll move yourself up to around 25, so you'll be within the top 7. So obviously the championship, I think, is actually not possible for you to get now in terms of the point gap. But do you think you can try and get the top 3 in this championship this season?
Maybe not top 3. I'm aiming for like a top 5. But yeah, I got screwed with me being on holidays and stuff. I missed 2 rounds, so that hurt me a lot. But yeah. Like nothing I can do.
Of course. So, well, that's all from me, mate. Anything from you, Sappy?
Nothing from me other than a great job, well done. Of course, I want to just ask before we let you go. What were your sort of expectations heading into today's race? And obviously, as things went down and the glitched safety car, which of course we could talk about forever. How were you sort of feeling as the race went on? Obviously, how were your feelings going in? And then as the race progressed, how did you see it going?
Well, before the race, my goal was like top 15, because I swear I had like 1.5, maybe 2 hours of practice. But as the race went on, it started with qualifying, where I did a good second run, and then I could fully send it on the last run, and it worked. I finished P2. And then, yeah, during the race, I was a bit under pressure because I didn't expect myself to be that high up in the quali. But track position was the key, and yeah, I just tried to stay at the front, and it worked. So yeah, that's it.
Well, fair play to you, mate. Worked out pretty well, and you can certainly hold your head high after today's performance. Looking forward to see what you do. Of course, you've got Brazil and then Texas. You're looking forward to either of those tracks, either of those strengths in your book, or more neutral or otherwise?
Brazil kind of neutral. Texas is one of my worst tracks, so it's gonna be interesting. But again, I will have no pressure, so it's gonna be, yeah. I hope it's gonna be good.
Yeah, wrap the season, having a bit of fun. What more to it is there than that? Well, great job today, mate. Hopefully, we get to see you in one of our last opportunities in the commentary box for the last couple of races, but otherwise, we'll let you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys. See you.
Have a good one. Bye. And right, now we'll speak to our second place, man, Julian Kloppenbach, mate. Welcome into the interview room. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. So, you're saying quite happy in your voice. So, P2... Brilliant result. Pole to start it off with. You couldn't have asked, well, apart from the win, you couldn't have asked for anything better there, could you?
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, I had to practice a lot for E-Series yesterday, so I basically started practicing 2 to 3 hours before the race. I had zero confidence. WR and E-Series 2 months ago weren't going well, so I just luckily we managed to get a good setup done for tonight, and then I just went into quali with no pressure. Just drove the last lap. It was literally perfect, and yeah, and then started in P1, managed the race well, also with the tires and stuff, but then yeah, safety car, and in the last few laps it was just saving battery, and Leo then diving up the inside basically won Reese the race, but yeah, can't do much about that, so yeah.
Yeah. Do you reckon that if Leo didn't send that dive bomb, you could have looked for the win at the end?
I think, yeah. I mean, the pace in the last, especially in the last lap, was very good. I mean, I could keep up with Reese, even though he had 2 laps fresher tires. I think he was just in the drop-off at that point. So I think it would have been possible, and yeah, as I said, it cost me the win. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. And I think, I think you still. I don't think you can actually win the championship. I think you're still a little bit too far away from Mirko's points, but I think a P3 is still possible. Do you think you can try and take third away from Pepinter in this championship this season?
Yes, I will 100%. I will also try to get the championship somehow. I know now without Netherlands it will be very difficult, but I will just give my best and keep the point streak going. And yeah, the last few races were going very well, and now finally a podium again. So yeah, very happy.
Yep. Well, you seemed quite confident then when you said 100%, which is something which is good to hear. Obviously, you're part of our actually. The team will be preparing for esports, so I think now you might be left a little bit lonely, won't you, in the F2, and all the others are going to be off to esports.
I mean, Joost are practicing a lot for the races, so yeah, we also have good chemistry. We're also working together in the races, very good. So yeah.
Yeah, which is I think a very good team and definitely something which you and the team will be quite happy with. So that's all from me, mate. Well done on P2. Anything from you, Sappy?
Nothing other than really well done today, mate. Obviously, you and just proved that you work really well together. You mentioned the chemistry. I think that's very much on point. You have been running 1-2 together in a couple of scenarios in the championship so far. We were a little bit worried in the commentary box for a split second that you double stack on the strategy, but it worked out very well in the end, I think. I guess actually one question from me. What was going through your mind during the bugged out safety car? Were you sort of worried about that at all? Or you were just sort of remaining committed to plan?
I mean, for sure I was worried. I was also like praying that the race doesn't get cancelled, because this would be like very bad for me. But I mean, luckily the safety car went in the lap after, so everything was fine again, and I fully concentrated for the last few laps. So yeah, was good.
Oh, well done, mate. And obviously a result to be proud of. And as you move on to the couple last rounds of the championship, you're looking forward to either Brazil or Texas, or are they sort of more neutral tracks in your book?
I don't know. I haven't driven a single league race on both of these tracks. I mean, I like the tracks, so hopefully it will be good results, and yeah, let's see how it goes.
Either way, we look forward to it, mate. And hopefully we get to see you in the commentary box on one of those 2 rounds, because we know the pace that you've got on tap. But we're going to let you go. Of course, hold your head high. Really good performance out there tonight. Looking forward to see you in a couple weeks' time.
Yeah, thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And there you go.
Happy. What a race that was. I think it was quite interesting. The safety car, as you said, it was worrying. It was worrying for us, because the last thing I want is a race to end on lap 18 because of a bug. But luckily we could get ourselves to the end, and the curse didn't hit us once again, with the game being a bit silly. But luckily it was all fine in the end, and we did get a brilliant, 21 laps-ish of racing. And, well, one mistake from Leo Lund cost probably the chance of 3 drivers, or 4 drivers, taking the victory. But in the end, Reece Linton, impeccable performance from 13th on the grid. You're thinking he's going to have a lot of work to do. Maybe a top 5's on the cards, but no, he went and took the victory. Brilliant performance from him indeed. And now the championship is going to be heated up, because Reece Ives, I would say, has been one of the most consistent drivers this season, and now puts himself 3 points back from Mirko Soriano. Merkel's in a bit of a bad spot at the moment from what we've seen so far, whether that's due to people's racecraft, due to his own racecraft, or his own luck. We don't know. We'll obviously see what happens after with the stewards' inquiries. But yeah, this isn't looking good at all for Mirko, is it, Sappy? 20th and 17th in 2 rounds after taking 5 podiums back-to-back, obviously with him not racing in race 4. This is not looking good at all, is it? This is really going to be quite a pressurised moment for the team.
Yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind as well is, let's do a little bit of math here. Before we round out tonight, let's do a little bit of quick maths. And what we can find is 2 things. One is that now, with Linton's win and Soriano scoring 0 points, that is going to put him just 5 points away from Soriano's position, which is insane. That is a very difficult challenge to try and face up against. And if his luck continues, he could be out of it by round 9. So Soriano's kind of got to pick him up by the sort of seat of his heels. And he's got to find some form in these last 2 races, because a brilliant cushion he's built up. And I remain resolute in the fact that he has had probably the best first half performance that we have ever seen in PSGL, in terms of absolutely just dominating the field, especially at this level. But he cannot keep that and then lose it in the second half after such a great start. Tycho Hardy doing a little bit more counting up. He is going to be walking away with 4 points. So he is going to be about 10 points behind with his finish. And Reece Linton, though, is going to be the one to watch. The narrative has changed slightly. But as a reminder, folks, if you didn't catch us earlier, just a quick refresher. No Zandvoort next week due to F1 Esports. So next round is not going to be on the 11th of April. It's in fact going to be on the 18th, because we are headed to Interlagos for the penultimate round of the season. No reschedule for Zandvoort. We remain committed, and this is going to be a bit of a shake-up. I think some drivers weren't anticipating this, because I know certainly a few on this field, they see Zandvoort as their strongest, so it's a difficult thing to see it go.
It is. It's a lovely track as well. I really enjoy it. It's probably one of my favourite tracks, because of the nature of how it's ran. But then again, you've got to sacrifice the round when esports is around the corner. We've got 6 tracks over 3 days. I think missing one PSGL race won't harm us too much. But Sappy, that was a brilliant race, wasn't it? It was a brilliant way to continue on this championship and now have a real championship battle towards the end between Mirko Soriano and Reece Linton. So as we say, make sure we're not to come back next week, because we're not here next week, but we will be the week after, of course, for Brazil. So that is all from us tonight. So have a good evening, everyone, and we'll see you again next time for some more PSGL. So for now, good night.
Good night, folks.
on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.